Tonight, our coverage as the U.S. has announced it will keep sending arms to Israel despite worsening humanitarian conditions in Palestine. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Aisha Ashraf. The federal court has upheld Canada Revenue Agency's decision to revoke the charitable status of a renowned Jewish nonprofit organization. The ruling was issued last week. This comes as the Jewish National Fund Canada had filed a legal challenge to have its charitable status reinstated. Canada Revenue Agency revoked the charity status in August. The decision was based on the organization's failure to comply with Canadian tax laws. As per Canadian law, such organizations are required to operate exclusively for charitable purposes. On the contrary, the charity has been involved in projects supporting Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories. It has faced criticism for using taxpayer dollars to fund such initiatives. The court's decision marks a major step in addressing the scrutiny of organizations linked to Israel's illegal occupation. The charity has been ordered to wind down its operations in Canada and distribute its remaining assets. These are valued at approximately $31 million. Ontario Premier Doug Ford has called for Mexico to be excluded from the North American Trade Agreement. The agreement is also known as Canada-Mexico-U.S. Trade Deal, or CUSMA. The trade deal is set for review in 2026 and is meant to boost regional manufacturing. He is accusing Mexico of acting as a backdoor for Chinese goods, particularly cars and auto parts. Ford claims this negatively impacts North American automakers. Ford argues Mexico's failure to match Canadian and American tariffs on Chinese imports harms U.S. and Canadian workers. He is proposing a direct U.S.-Canada trade agreement instead. Last month, Canada imposed a 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles. During the U.S. presidential campaign, Donald Trump also criticized Mexico's role in undercutting North American automakers. The CUSMA agreement represents a market of 500 million people. Its annual value is $1.8 trillion. The State Department has announced the U.S. will maintain its current arms transfer policy to Israel, despite the worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The announcement was made yesterday as a deadline set by the White House for Israel to enhance aid access to Gaza expired. Under U.S. law, military aid to countries can be denied if they block humanitarian assistance. State Department spokesperson Vedant Patel says the decision followed Israel's number of steps to facilitate aid. Patel says the White House is in discussions with Israel regarding the actions they have taken and those they still need to implement. Recently, Israel has allowed 38 trucks daily into Gaza. However, the figure is much lower than the requirement of 500 trucks daily. This comes as the World Health Organization has issued a warning of imminent famine in northern Gaza. Germany, a key ally and major arms supplier to Israel, has also criticized Israel. It says Israel's right to self-defense is bound by international humanitarian law, which mandates continuous humanitarian access. Meanwhile, Israel has announced it will sever ties with the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. The agency is responsible for aid distribution in Gaza. Former Human Rights Watch executive Kenneth Roth says Israel has not met the Biden administration standards for aid into Gaza. Roth cautions that with the Trump administration, Netanyahu may feel less obligated to meet U.S. demands. The Israeli military has intensified its deadly airstrikes in the Middle East. In the past 24 hours, 64 civilians have been killed in Palestine. Local media has captured a targeted airstrike hitting makeshift camps in Al-Mawsi region in Gaza. The footage shows a huge explosion. Israeli strikes have killed several others in central Gaza and Rafah. The United Nations Humanitarian Agency says Israel has blocked all aid efforts to the region. Tens of thousands of people are living without food or medical supplies. Israel's actions have killed at least 43,665 Palestinians. More than 100,000 have been injured. Israel faces a genocide case at the International Court of Justice for its deadly war on Gaza. In Lebanon, Israeli bombings have targeted different areas. 28 civilians have been killed since yesterday. Artillery strikes have struck Shahma and Zibqin, and the military has conducted raids on the towns in the Deir district. In Lebanon, at least 3,287 civilians have been killed by Israeli airstrikes. 14,222 are injured. A U.S. jury has awarded $42 million to 3 Iraqi men who were detained and abused at Abu Ghraib in Iraq. The men were held in the notorious prison in 2003. The plaintiffs recount horrific abuse, including sexual assaults and physical torture inflicted by U.S. personnel with the involvement of a private military contractor, CACI. This is the first time a military contractor has been held accountable for its role in the torture. The jury has awarded plaintiffs Suhail al-Shimari, Salah al-Ijali, and Asa'ad al-Zubay $3 million each in compensation. $11 million have been given in punitive damages. The case spanned over nearly 2 decades. It marks a significant step towards holding private contractors accountable for human rights violations. The case also sets a legal precedent for accountability in military operations. For 20 years, CACI has refused to take responsibility for its role in torture at Abu Ghraib. Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev is criticizing the Western governments for their double standards on climate issues. Aliyev's comments came during his address at the COP29 climate change conference. He accuses the Western leaders of hypocrisy. He says these leaders are purchasing Azerbaijani gas while lecturing the country on environmental responsibility. Aliyev says his nation relies on fossil fuels. He says oil and gas reserves in his country are a gift of God. Aliyev says countries should not be blamed for utilizing their natural resources to meet global demand. Aliyev cited civil society groups calling for a boycott of COP29 due to Azerbaijan's repressive government and fossil fuel footprint. He says despite these calls, 72,000 registered participants from 196 countries are attending the event. Out of these, there are 80 presidents, vice presidents, and prime ministers. Railway services in southwest Pakistan have been suspended for 4 days. The move follows a deadly explosion at a Quetta railway station on Saturday. The blast killed 26 civilians. 14 of the casualties are military personnel. Dozens have been injured. The bombing is believed to have been a suicide attack. The Balochistan Liberation Army, a separatist group, has claimed responsibility for the attack. The provincial government has declared a 3-day mourning period. Quetta is located in the Balochistan province, which is rich in natural resources. The area is crucial for the Pakistan-China Economic Corridor project. However, the Balochistan Liberation Army has long opposed the project, citing its opposition to Chinese involvement in the region. The mystery behind Canada's recent butter thefts has left everyone baffled. Since December, there have been multiple thefts in Ontario worth thousands of dollars. A $1,200 heist was carried out in Brantford last month. These incidents come as the price of butter has surged by 50% in the past 4 years. Experts say the high price makes butter a prime target for thieves. Police believe these crimes are tied to a black market where stolen butter is sold at a slight discount. Experts say the trend is not limited to butter. Thieves are also targeting expensive groceries like steak and seafood. That's all from our Toronto studios. Thank you for watching Muslim News Canada. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam and good night.